Good night, everyone. It's Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020. With this, we start the show Confirmado la Moncloa, a review of the Spanish political situation. It will be around 30 minutes long to focus on a few ideas. As always, we'll start with the comment of the day, and today it's about our YouTube channel. Today we've done 10 programs. It's the record for us, and we are really happy about the new program, the new section that's called La Guardilla. In English, it'd be the attic, where any of you can feel free to send us an MP4 file with a 3 to 5 minute long video. Of course, we will review it because of YouTube restrictions and everything, but then we will just put it up in the channel so all of the listeners and the program followers can listen to it and watch it. As we've mentioned other times that democracy is something we build between all of us, this channel is also built between all of us. And today the two sections that we've added to La Guardilla, the attic, one about education and one about economy. Thank you to the both that collaborated with us, and thank you for sending the videos. And we invite anyone who wants to send us videos as they did. And total liberty if you wanted to make it more like humor, more serious, or more ironic, all within respect. Also, the second thing is to confirm that we're going to continue on our own in this program, even after being offered to collaborate, but we've decided to stay on our own. We thought that the best way to analyze the information we give is to be independent and to keep doing it our way. It also allows us to keep being neutral and to keep working our way and to giving that point of information and analyzing it from a neutral point of view. It allows us to not depend on public money or on political views or anything, and also that someday we will stop being here as this channel and nothing will happen. It'll be okay. We will start with the headlines of the day. The first one is about the report of health that has been filtered and that will be debated today at the regional council. I know here in Spain, so much information is just filtered. We imagine that it's maybe just to know where the things are going, see how the people react to it. It seems that one of the ideas of this report is to create a perimeter between the autonomous communities for Christmas. The second headline would be the judicial headquarters that would be needed for Unidas Podemos political party. They have so many cases, they could create just a judicial headquarters only for them. Not only here in Spain, but now they're starting to have petitions from Europe. The third headline, a bit surprising for today, is the intention of the opposition in the region of Madrid to do a vote of no confidence in Ayuso by the Social Democrats, the PSOE, which is a bit surprising, hypocritical, because maybe the one that should have a vote of no confidence against is a Social Democrat mayor, because his holidays were paid by the business to which he granted personally, without a tender, a contract of around 200,000 euros. So Social Democrats, maybe instead of going against Ayuso, that seems like she's managing okay the situation, you should go against your mayor that is also the spokesperson of the Social Democrats political party. And the fourth headline, the last one, is about the vaccines. It seems like at the end of December, the Pfizer vaccine will be approved in Europe, and the one from Moderna around mid-January. For some of us, it's a bit strange that without finishing the tests, that they already know the dates of the approval of the vaccines. We could compare this to the tests that kids have at school. Well, if you know you have a test like mid-January, well, just a month earlier you could say, well, it's already approved. We will now start with the report that has been filtered of the Ministry of Health to the autonomous communities about the intention to perimeter the autonomous communities again during Christmas. For example, if you're in Catalonia, you can't go to Aragon Or if you're in Aragon, you can't go to Madrid. And if you're in Madrid, you can't go to Galicia, for example. There are two things surprising in this filtered report. First, didn't they say that the national government wasn't going to get in the way of the autonomous communities? That they were going to have freedom to decide? And isn't the pandemic in Spain getting a bit better? The other day we explained the MOMO system, and you can see that in these states the mortality has been lowered, and more than other years too. But we must remain vigilant. Some autonomous communities are working really well, are managing really well the situation, even though they don't have a perimeter to stop you from going from one autonomous community to the other, that are being able to descend the number of people infected. But now the national government wants to impose a perimeter to all the autonomous communities during Christmas. To be honest, this reminds us to the situation a few months ago when the autonomous community of Madrid was trying to manage the infection in their region, and the national government wanted to impose, and did impose in the end, their measures instead of talking with the presidency of Madrid, with Ayuso. When the national government was just saying it was a health issue, when it was really a political issue, they were trying to attack Ayuso. And it has been confirmed it was like that. And it seems that the reason they want to put a perimeter, it seems it's the same reason, a political one. And some of us are just tired of the Minister Illa from Health, and also with the hand of all of the national government and Ivan Redondo behind of it, trying to get, with political reasons, into other issues like health and fundamental rights, like mobility. And we have a few examples, like here in Catalonia. The plan they have to lighten the restrictions for the virus is that from day 21st of December, you can leave out of the autonomous community of Catalonia. And you can take a look at the airline companies that have put prices like other years, keeping in mind there is less availability of airplanes. And now, to all of those people that have organized their holidays, the national government is going to tell them that they cannot leave their autonomous community and go where they were going to go? Is the national government going to go against the airline companies and tell them that they cannot fly? With what criteria? Is it going to be a sanitary reason? Do we have to take a look at the MOMO system again? It seems like a new invention of Minister Illa and Ivan Redondo, of smoke screens that they need to do every day to try and make believe that they're managing the situation when they just confirmed they are not managing it at all. Weren't we going to be all vaccinated in January 2021? And the virus spreads itself between 10 and 14 days? Well, we could all be vaccinated in January. Was that theory? Where's the problem? This government just keeps making contradictory decisions. It is complicated to analyze this government because the intelligence in this government was lost weeks and months ago, if it ever had any intelligence at all. When the national government makes decisions that make no sense at all, you can't just stay there and watch them. And it makes no sense to close the perimeter of the autonomous communities here in Spain if the number of infected people isn't too big. The measures must always be, and we don't want a false group of experts saying that the numbers aren't real. And of course, we must stay vigilant, but we can't just let the economy die even more. Example, tourism is just dead. There's nothing left of it right now. Don't sink it even more with perimeters at the autonomous communities in Spain. These aren't sanitary decisions, they're political ones. And when someone puts political reasons before sanitary ones, in the end, we think they should be responsible for it. And the seriousness of the situation should imply responsibility to be paid in prison. And some of us try to imagine what should happen in the future, and we think that in a few years, Minister Illa, President Sanchez, and Iván Redondo should end up in prison during many years. And if that doesn't happen, will mean that democracy has been totally lost. Because yes, you might be surprised, but democracy consists also in decisions like that one. Because if we're not all equal before the law, then it's not a democracy. Something everyone should have clear is that the terrible decisions made by this government can't be impugned. Be the country in the world with more deaths by the COVID-19. Be the country in the world with the most loss of the gross domestic product, as well as lying on purpose, like today, where the OECD has said that Nadia Calviño has lied. Also the lies about the VAT, the VAT of the masks, that they said that the national government here said that Europe said we couldn't lower the VAT when that wasn't true, and they had to say it wasn't true and that we could. And what is the end goal of putting a perimeter to the autonomous communities here in Spain? Is it that the national government wants to take the control back? The national government thought maybe that the autonomous communities would fail in the management of the situation? Is it that? Is it that Iván Redondo thought that would happen and it hasn't happened? Because if the autonomous communities in their minds, if they had failed, then the national government would just manage the situation like heroes. But what has really happened? Let's start with Madrid and most of the autonomous communities in Spain. They managed much better than the national government the situation this time that the national government did last time. And now the national government wants to take back the control so that they don't see that they were just ridiculous and that they did it just terribly. And some of us think that in the regional council there is, with the autonomous communities about health, they should reject the proposal. We will see what the People's Party of Mr. Casado does. We will see if People's Party of Mr. Casado is going to agree on another negligent decision with the government. And then we will see what is the truth for many of them. Because, as we have said many times, that Inés Arrimadas from the Citizens Party is just trying to be a minister in Mr. Sánchez's government, I think nobody doubts that Casado just wants to stay as leader in the opposition. And if this Wednesday Casado doesn't make a good decision, though we think some of the autonomous communities ruled by the People's Party presidents will make their own decisions, because closing the perimeter of the autonomous communities is a big error and not needed right now. If Casado does approve this decision, it will be a big error, and the People's Party will end up being the best partner the government could have. And that would only lead to more deaths, more economic problems, something that seems like this government wants, as well as the radical partners it has, Unidas Podemos, Bildu and ERC, the pro-independents from Catalonia, and probably the party Citizens and People's Party might end up agreeing with this too, and that would only lead to a worse situation. With what plan? Well, it's simple. It's just incompetent people that only know how to live from public money. And entering into the next headline, we think Unidas Podemos should have a judicial headquarters for their own. Today the judge has ordered to investigate Podemos accounts with the payments to Neurona, the business that has one of the ex-leaders of Podemos, an account where there's also Echenique. The Anti-Fraud Office of the European Union has also asked about information of Neurona and its relationship with Unidas Podemos. Not only they need judicial headquarters here in Spain, but maybe they should start having one in the European Union too. The same European Union that has been warning the national government seems like has added a new warning now. The opinion that the European Union and Europe has about Podemos is terrible, and also internationally. Because, for example, we understand that the King of Morocco doesn't want to see Pedro Sánchez because of the position of Unidas Podemos about Sahara. Because when a political party is part of the government, it must be responsible of the functions of the government and not to do just what they want. And Unidas Podemos is the limping leg of the government. And the thing is that Sánchez has gotten closer to Unidas Podemos in the aspect of the government. And for him is his way of staying in office. That's why Sánchez will give Unidas Podemos, ERC, the pro-independence here in Catalonia, and Bildu anything they want just to stay in office and power. All with the help of Ivan Redondo, that by the way, today we said how to contact him on another show that we did. And it is surprising that the chief of communication of this government has no way to be contacted. This only proves that Ivan Redondo only knows how to give instructions and not how to communicate. But he doesn't want to listen to anyone. He doesn't want to have his feet on the ground. It seems as if they all live in another world. And in that other world, it seems surprising that the opposition of the government of Madrid is trying to do a vote of no confidence to Ayuso again. Precisely Ayuso, that the data shows that she's probably the one that managed all the crises and situation the best. For example, Ayuso today opened a new hospital, and the radical left was only able to congregate like 40 people to complain. It's surprising that the radical left wants to complain about the opening of a hospital. What do they want to open? Military quarters? And sometimes it just seems like Unidas Podemos forgets they're in the government and they're trying to do opposition at the same time. And they forget that one thing is to manage reality and the other thing is to just keep doing opposition when you're the one in the government. And the decision of the Social Democrats, the PSOE, of the Autonomous Community of Madrid, it's quite surprising, especially today when the news of one of their mayors, that's also the spokesperson of the political party, that went to Ibiza in a luxury yacht. And when he was discovered, he said he had paid it, but the truth is, he didn't pay it. According to news from OK Diario, the vacation was paid by a business that was granted a 200,000 contract without a tender. And that business is the one that offered the mayor 4,000 euros a day for his holidays. Well, the thing is, they want to attack Ayuso again. They want to go against her. I imagine that they will try to say it's a sanitary reason when it's really just a political one. Or they might even invent any other thing, because once Franco is dead, now the problem is Ayuso. And for them, it's all Ayuso, Ayuso, and Ayuso. But instead, those that steal and other things, they seem to have immunity. Remember, this is Spain. It doesn't matter if you do the things the good way or the bad way, because the important part is whose political party you have an ID card, and follow what the political party wants. And if not, ask Ferreras in the, quote, debate with Iglesias, where they both started to argue because Pablo Iglesias didn't like the questions. But we have no pity for Ferreras, because if you get close to people that aren't the good ones and you've taken advantage of it, then why after come crying? And last but not least, good news, or we hope it's a good news, is it seems that the European Union is going to approve this December, the 29th, the vaccine Pfizer, and in mid-January, the one from Moderna. And for us, it's surprising that you approve something 30 days before, that you already know you're going to approve it, and the tests are still running. For example, if someone wants to get the degree in law, well, 30 days before, they could say, 30 days before finishing and having the degree, they could say, oh, I've already been approved, because the European Union told me so, that I'm going to have it in 30 days. But some of us think that play with some things shouldn't be done, like for example with health. And we're talking about vaccines that are going to make happy a lot of people, but are also terrifying a lot of them right now. Because the pharmaceuticals don't want the responsibility of negative consequences. It is kind of scary. Just try and imagine that tomorrow you buy yourself a car, you pay an insurance, and that the insurance company tells you that, oh, of course, if you have an accident, we won't pay you. Well, you have to be responsible of what you're responsible. Or is it that the pharmaceuticals are only responsible of getting paid? And after, if it doesn't go well, oh, it's too bad, but we have millions and millions of euros. And it's quite surprising because we think that the government should be worried and try to help the citizens, but they're only worried about the money for themselves and to continue in power and office. And also because they are unable to win that kind of money in any other activity, nor public nor private. Total incompetence. And we have seen that when looking at the curriculums of most of them. And we're not talking about what they studied or anything like that. And we will continue looking at other curriculums. We'll already have some of them prepared, and we'll keep on surprising you. Don't be surprised if some politicians that have only been in politics since they were 18 don't know how to do anything else. They haven't had to pay a freelance fee, nor even a salary to anyone. Probably they haven't even gone to a bank to open a bank account or ask for a credit. Probably the secretary did it for them. They haven't done anything. What can we expect from them? Some of us, what we expect from people that have decided politics as a form of life, and people like Ivan Redondo, we expect is to know to do things and manage correctly. But for example, Ivan Redondo, in the video we explained today, like the prize he says he won, it was just some prize that like 4 million people won that day. It's like if you want to learn typing in a course and they give you a certificate. And probably the incompetence of the governments and the past ones we didn't even notice because, well, more or less we were just all living okay. But now that we see that only some people live well, some start to worry. For example, when you see politicians like Adriana Lastra, since she was 18 in politics, not one single job out of politics, and with a bank account with thousands of euros, you realize that things can't be done like this. We should clean the politics. We should clean this class of politics. This can't be like this. And they have proven that they're just incompetent and negligent. And with that, causing a great problem. And the incompetence and negligence is what we think that, like that dream, in 3 years we'll wake up and we will see most of them in prison, since it is the only place we think they deserve to be in. That is the reality of this country. Remember, this week is still going to be complex, complicated, difficult, and with more information every day. And where the government just keeps going towards the cliff. We will see when the government gets there and when it finally falls. Things are like this, and as we have said, we will continue in a transparent way on our own and not stopping, little by little. Remember, stick around, or as we would say in Spain, seguimos.